Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Cynthia with FFT Helping Others and the Domestic Violence Rally. I know this is like in my face. Okay, there we go. That's much better. Sorry. I know I'm coming a little bit late. It's like 10:32. It's like super late right now. But I wanted to come on in and just kind of go over a little bit of stuff that we went over yesterday. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Cynthia Pagan Hale. I am the CEO of FFT Helping Others. I am also the Domestic Violence Rally founder. And again, it's like 10:32. So I'm hoping that I won't be here very long because I don't like being on too late at night. I like my beauty sleep and I also like to like chill at night. So anywho, so let's talk about the subject. It's how to be aware of human trafficking and some documentaries you can kind of look at. And I am going to share certain screens with you so you can look at what, to look at certain things that you may not be aware of. And yesterday we did talk about human trafficking and sex trafficking as a whole and how to be aware of those things, especially with your kids, and especially since we have to be aware of the signs, and especially if we have to watch our kids. Things like, what does human trafficking look like? It's not what people usually think. People usually think, oh, well, human trafficking is, somebody coming out of a van and coming and grabbing you and, they're coming to steal you. It's not like just like that. It could be very, very subtle. There's subtleties to human and sex trafficking, believe it or not. Some human and sex traffickers can start off, being like Romeo pimps, where they can, try to um, love on a person online, especially if they're kids, and they try to manipulate the child or the person when you're a human and sex trafficker, or when you're a Romeo pimp, as they say. They like to do things that will manipulate the person who is about to be human or sex trafficked. They can utilize apps, like I was telling you guys yesterday. They can utilize little things so it's not like they jump out of a van and try to get your kids. That's not how it works. Sometimes it could be very, very subtle. So they can start off by doing things that are extremely dangerous, and they can say things to your kids like, hey, I'm another 16-year-old, I'm another 17-year-old. Hey, why don't you meet me in this place? And it could be going on for a couple of weeks. It can be going on for a couple of months. So, it doesn't mean that they're going to necessarily, have a relationship with your child immediately. And then they're going to, have immediately come and get your child. That's not how it works. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes it could be, like I said, extremely subtle, where they can manipulate your child, or they can even manipulate you. You don't even know. So you have to be very wary of the signs, and worry of of you know of what you're doing. They could even do little things like, I was looking at it, but there was a human traffickers and sex traffickers. They will leave even plastic bottles on your car as you're leaving out of, the Target or Walmart or whatever. And, when your teenager or yourself could be coming out of your car, they can come and get you. So, like I said, yes, it could be something as subtle as, hey, coming to get you out of a van. That's true. But it could also be something as manipulative as, a person, making light conversation with another person and saying, hey, what about your lifestyle? I'm here for you. I know that you're having such a difficult time, and things like that. So there, the human and sex trafficker can make it very simply. They can manipulate their way into their lives. That's what they're there to do. They're there to manipulate themselves into the life of the person who's being manipulated. So, like I said, it could be very subtle. It doesn't start off immediately like, oh, I'm gonna grab this person. Yes, sometimes it can be like that, but then other times it could be, you know, that they just come, like it says in the Word of God, like a thief in the night. And when you turn around and you look, your child is not there. So that's why I said we have to be very cautious about what our children are watching or doing or seeing or who they're talking to. It's very important and very imperative that we make that we're watching what their little eyes are or who they're talking to. Because it could be anybody online. It could be a 20-year-old, it could be a 30-year-old, it could be a 50-year-old. It could be a woman talking to a young boy, and the young boy might think that is another young boy. So it could be just about anything that can happen to them. So why do I say these things? I bring it up because of the simple fact that yes, we're starting school. Yes, it's very dangerous. Yes, these are things that are going on right now. But to the simple fact that we also want to make sure that we're paying attention for other kids too, and also being aware of the signs. So, what are some of the human and sex trafficking signs? Like I said, yes, we want to look out for white vans with tinted windows. We also want to look out for other young girls out in the or girls in the middle of the street somewhere. We want to look apparently for any tattoos or markings that they might have on them. We want to make sure that we're looking, if they're looking around all the time, that's a child that's either, or a young girl who's being human trafficked. So we want to make sure that we're watching out for those signs, and making sure that we're aware that that's something that's going on. Here's a story, and I guess I can tell this story. I was actually going through Checkers, and I really wanted some French fries. I don't know why. I love Checkers fries. Anyways, I was driving through the, drive through. I saw a young girl. She was next to the Checkers table, and she literally had her, her hand over her face, laying on the table. The young girl was about 16 years old, and she was drugged up. Like, she was literally drugged. And that's another typical sign, of sex trafficking. And she was so out of it, like totally out of it. And yes, we know that certain kids, they do drugs and they get themselves in trouble. But this specific little girl, the way she was dressed, she was not, And I even asked her, I said, do you need help? I mean, I parked, of course. I got out of that. I parked. I got out. I went and sat next to her, and I said, even though I knew that someone was probably watching her, and we have to be very cautious because there is someone always watching these girls. I went and tapped on her, and I said, do you need some help? Is there anything I can do for you? Knowing good and well that there was someone watching her, of course. Yes, we have to be cautious. We have to be aware and look at our surroundings, because you yourself can potentially be in danger. But she did, of course, say, yes, I don't want to be like this anymore. And she, of course, said she was in danger. And so we did find her help. We did find her a way to get her out of trouble. But these are things in which we have to learn to, of course, learn that there are, people out there who potentially do harm to kids. Excuse me, guys. I got off of Periscope. I apologize. So sorry. I am so sorry. I'm trying to get back in here. Okay. So potentially we have to watch out for kids who are also, could be potentially in danger, and potentially be in harm's way. And so that's the thing that happened that day. What I was thankful for is that this young girl really reached out. She really wanted help. She really was somebody who just sat there and said, yes, I need help. And I was thankful that she said yes, that she really wanted some help from being sex trafficked. But again, like I said, is that it's very subtle sometimes. It just doesn't happen right away. I apologize. I keep looking over because I'm looking at Periscope. So, it doesn't happen like everybody thinks. Um, sorry. Uh, come on. Let's see. Sorry. I guess and as soon as I start this, that's when Periscope like kicks me out, and I wanted to make sure that I like did this properly so that I can like get everything done. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm trying to do Facebook, I'm trying to do Periscope, and it's not like it's not matching. And I'm doing like two different things at the same time. So yeah, this is what happens when you are doing multiple things at the same time and it isn't working. It's not working. So anywho, that's the story, and there's been more stories like that. It's not just that story, it's more stories that I've dealt with where it starts off very slowly. It starts off where a young girl is, another story is a young girl is dating a young man, and the young man says, hey, this is a simple way we can make money. And the young girl at first is like, I don't know, I want to do that, I don't feel comfortable, but she loves him so much. And, at first it was just simple. It was easy. And she wants to make him happy. And, and that's how it starts. It really is. That's how it starts. It starts off with she wants to please her boyfriend, wants to make her boyfriend happy, and so it starts off with, hey, we can make easy money. And then he starts selling his girlfriend on Craigslist, and actually I had an interview with on a newspaper article, and I even told the reporter, I said, yeah, they sell them on Craigslist. And he was like, Craigslist? I was like, yeah, Craigslist. I was like, not only Craigslist, they do it on Snapchat, but they do it very inconspicuously. They do it on Twitter inconspicuously. They do it on social media sites inconspicuously, but it does happen. It does. Now Facebook has been gotten pretty good on it. Facebook, you're on it, but still, Facebook, you got a lot of work. Got a lot of work to do, Facebook. But it happens on Craigslist all the time. It happens on newspaper articles. I mean, on free newspapers. It happens on the penny hoarder. It happens on a lot of these free newspapers, and a lot of people don't even know that. Oh, I thought that was just the article. No, they're selling girls on there. And so what I was telling this newspaper reporter was that, yes, and I actually even screenshotted and sent it to him so he could see what it looks like. Actually, you know what? I'll do the same thing here so you guys can see and see what it looks like too. I don't want to put too much on there because I know that Facebook might just be like, well, nope. But just so you guys can get an idea, I'll try to blank out the phone numbers. But anywho, they will utilize those newspapers. They utilize events. They utilize those kind of things to human and sex traffic girls, even kids, boys, and people don't even think about it, but boys are big sex trafficking, yeah, they get more, if not so much more, but they get human trafficked a lot. Probably from the ages of 12 to 16, maybe. They get human trafficked a lot. And a lot of people don't think about it, but a lot of kids who live in disparities are in need of food, don't want to live under mom and dad's roof because they're just like, I don't want to live under mom's roof, and mom, dad, have too many rules. they go and hang out with, friends, in the streets or whatever. And then they find themselves with no money. They find themselves, you know, in drugs or whatever the case may be. And then that's when like a Romeo pimp kind of smooths himself in and says, hey, you know what? I can give the drugs that you need. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I can, I can give you whatever you need. I'm here for you. And that's where the problem is that a lot of these, kids get manipulated, especially when they're in the streets, especially if they're runaways. A lot of these runaway kids, they get manipulated. And a lot of them don't even want to go back home, and they feel bad. Even they feel bad after the first instance, the very first instance. That's when the pimp will start telling them, well, can't go back home now. I mean, look what you did, and that's where they manipulate them. They really start to manipulate their mind. They start manipulating, how they think or what they're doing. Hey, you know what? You making good money. I mean, I could give you the money that you need. I give you the drugs that you need. And that's how they manipulate them a lot, by telling them the things that they want or they think they want to hear. But then it starts to happen in which, one, they don't give them the things that they want. Two, they don't give them the drugs that they need. Three, or they do give them the drugs they need just to keep them so wired up that they don't even know where they're at. Like that young little girl I was telling you about, she was so hemmed up on drugs, she didn't even know where she was at. She didn't even know she was by Checkers. They probably just dropped her off there. She was probably waiting for a client that they had. You know what I'm saying? But she didn't even know her own name, And so they keep these kids wired up on, heroin. They keep them on, PCP. They keep them on things, and they don't give them little drugs. It's not like it's weed or none. It's not marijuana. This is not what they're giving them now. They're giving them things like Coke. They're giving them things like, things that are big time where they can't get off of, where it's harder for them to get off of their system. And so they keep giving them that, oh man, this girl, she's real. Like I had another client where she literally had a problem. I mean, she had a problem, and she didn't care where she was going to get. And she started pimping herself, because it started off with her husband was pimping her, and then she started pimping herself. And then she started pimping other girls because she needed the drug. And the problem is that when you need that drug, when somebody's already pimped you, and then when other people start pimping you, that's the problem. When you've been sex trafficked and you know that the drug's in you, then you start doing it yourself, and you start getting yourself. And that's why like I said, you have to watch kids, watch your children, because once that drug is in them, it's so difficult. And listen, guys, and I'm telling you this because I know God can save us from anything. He can rescue us from everything. Okay. And I know he can cleanse us and save us and set us free. I know this to be true. But if we can prevent anything, if we can prevent the way we go down this road or the way that we do things, if we can prevent it, hey, prevention is key. If we can prevent our kids from getting in trouble or prevent them from hanging out with kids that are not supposed to be, hey, prevention, again, is key. Again, is key, But anywho, I digress. So let's go over kind of some key ideas, some key documentaries that I think are pretty good. Now, this person also agrees with me because I saw there's some real debate over these documentaries. I personally think they're pretty good. Like, there's certain of these that they're pretty good, and there's some other ones about domestic violence. I'll probably go over them tomorrow, but these are human trafficking ones. Let me share the screen and I will show you what I mean. So these are the depictions of how, to discuss, debate human trafficking, its challenges, things like that. The first one is Face to Face Slavery. This is about a 30-minute documentary. It's super good. It happens in the Congo. Like, Ghana is huge with human trafficking. Congo is huge. India, huge. Nepal. I mean, we talk about this all the time. Um, and the Global Goodwill Ambassadors, they're big about talking about human trafficking. But the documentary itself is extremely long. And the person who wrote this, I got to give him props, because it even says this documentary follows individuals who are involved in all stages of fighting against trafficking, from activists working alongside the slaves to survivors of trafficking who are now community leaders. So I give props to this person who wrote this, because it is so true. Face to face with slavery is, I have to say, I agree with the number one, because it is really good. The number two is Rotten. It is a series. It is on Netflix, which is true. But I definitely would agree. But again, with Rotten, you have to be very careful. Don't watch it with your children. It's very, very there's a lot of things on there that they should not be seeing. Okay, so this is not something where you go, oh, I'm gonna watch this with my kids so I can scare them. No, this is for you to be scared. So, don't be watching this with your kids. No, this is for you to be scared and for you to know what are the things that you should be watching. The Traffickers, also on Netflix. Again, I repeat, not for your children. This is for you to be fearful and be scared, and not fearful, but for you to be aware of. It tells you everything from corner to corner. It tells you the industry. It even tells you about, which is true, organs for sale. A lot of children, especially the little ones, babies, because you probably have seen it on YouTube. You probably have seen it on the news. You probably have seen it everywhere, where a parent could be walking down the street and all of a sudden this guy comes and steals her crib. I mean, her stroller, or steals her 3-year-old, or steals her 5-year-old, literally from her hands. A lot of those happen because they're organ selling. And we don't even know the, ethical issues with that. We have no idea. It happens so much in DC. It happened a lot in Baltimore. It happens a lot in Nevada. Just want to let you know. It happens a lot. Happens in California all the time. It happens here in Florida. And so, FYI, yes, organ selling is true. And actually, somebody had asked me this on TikTok. They put a TikTok out there and said, why is there a thing on my Garanimals? There's a tag on the Garanimals. And there was it's a, like a little, it's like a little sensor on the Garanimals tag. And I responded back to the lady and I said, just wanted to let you know that on the Garanimal sensors, it's because of human trafficking. And that all goes back to Warren Buffett, goes back to a whole bunch of very big people. I know it doesn't really mean anything to you guys, but yes, it's true. And look into that, guys. Just want to let you know, Garanimals, if you're going to buy Garanimals clothing for your kids, take off the tag, cut it, take off the tag, and leave the tag at the store. You do not need to take that tag with you. I'm talking about the Garanimals one, not the little tag that has the price. You take that home. But I'm talking about the Garanimals tag itself. You don't need to take that home with you. It does have a sensor on it, and it knows who is you're going home with. If you have a 3-month-old, if you have a 5-year-old, if you have a 4-year-old, the Garanimals knows. And so leave the sensor at Target. You don't need to take it home with you. I just wanted to FYI let you know that. Okay. Children for Sale, again, CNN Freedom Project, they did a whole thing on this, which talks about teenagers that were caught in sex trafficking, but they also went deep into children that were being sold, and little children who were being sold for slavery, and also children who were being sold for pieces. So, this isn't something that's new. This is something that's been happening. Um, Another one is very young girls. And I'm giving you this list because this is a great list. That's a 80-minute documentary. It's on Amazon Prime. Talks about all the sex trafficking that's going on in New York. New York is big on human trafficking. They got so much of it. And not only do they bring human traffickers, not only do they bring humans in containers, not only do they sell humans, but it's a commodity, and people who you don't think are involved in it. Okay. So just, want to let you know, it's a full industry, in Botswana alone, sex trafficking leads the whole literally leads the whole country. Just, and India, there's certain parts of India in which, again, human and sex trafficking lead the country. So, I'm going to stop this. Let's go back here. Okay. So just want to let you know that this is not like a new thing. It's not like, oh, this is new. No. This has been happening. So it's not like it's a brand new thing. Like, oh my God, this is happening brand new. No, this is not a brand new thing. It's been going on for a very long time. It's brand new. Not brand new. Like I said, in Botswana, human trafficking is normal. They utilize children. They utilize kids. They utilize young girls. It leads the country. That's like their main commodity. They sell. That's how they do things. And India is the same way. It's lucky if sometimes they can get somebody out of sex trafficking, out of, some of the barlows and things like that. It has to be like a really good missionary or really good organization. You know what I mean? That these pimps and these people know that, yeah, I'll give you this girl. It's not, I don't really need him anymore. I need this boy. I don't really need him. Thailand, same way. In Thailand, the sex trafficking bin is like, that's how it leads the country. But what we have to be aware of is that this isn't normal. It's not a normal thing for us. We should not think that it's okay and it's not normal, because it's not. We should not see that, trafficking humans is okay, and sex trafficking humans is okay, because it's not. We should be aware that, this is horrible. It's a horrible thing that's happening to a lot of these, people, and we're just letting it slide by, and that's why a lot of people go to the UN. They talk to them, although a lot of times it falls on deaf ears. Really does. Sometimes it falls on deaf ears. We don't really know how involved our government is or not is, or their government is, things like that. So, like I said, no need to take your granimals thing and take it home. You know what I mean? Because like I said, there is tags that you don't think are involved in human and sex trafficking or human trafficking, and they go home with you. And it's because they're tracking. They want to know how old your child is. Leave that tag. You don't need to take that tag. And if you don't believe me, I can definitely post that video so that you can know that I'm telling you that's the truth. This is not a scam. I'm not lying to you. I don't have to lie to you. This is not like I have to. What do I gain? I don't gain anything from this. Not at all. I'm not gaining dollars from this. Not at all. I'm telling you this to warn you. But what you see and what you're hearing and what you know is something that you have to be aware of with your kids. No, there's no need for it. Like, watching, like, your children are important. Teenagers too. They censor the kids and what apps they take and what apps they're downloading, what apps they're using. Oh, well, she's putting down all this information and da 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 da, and she's been saying she's la da da. There's a lot of people out here who actually make apps. They make apps, but they're targeting your kid. They're targeting your teenager. You don't think that, but they do. They target your teenager, and they're targeting the age of your teenager. So you got to watch that out too. And I'm not trying to like scare people. That's not what I'm trying to do. Like, I don't want to I don't want to scare people, because I'm like, it sounds like I'm scary. But you know what? We're not living in I want to say we're not living in the 1970s like we used to, where we used to go outside, or the 1980s where we used to go outside and your parents used to be like, you got to be home before that light. Remember when you used to go outside and go play, and your parent used to tell you, you need to go back in the house, be in the house before the light post turns on. Remember we used to play? No, it's not like that anymore. Like, everybody remembers that. Like, I remember my mom used to tell us, be home before dark, and even if it was a little bit dark, my mom was okay, as long as we were home before dark. Now you can't even do that, because it's like, even if you are home, even do you understand what I mean? Like, I mean, you can't even be home. Like, that's scary. Like, I remember my mom telling me, like, you can't, if you're in the woods, that's okay. Like, I built forts in the woods. Me and my girlfriends, or me and my friends used to build forts in the woods, and it was cool. Like, everybody's cool with it. But now your kids can't even go outside and play in the woods, because if they play in the woods, you don't know if there's some stranger in the woods that could potentially, you understand what I mean? Like, he could potentially like do them harm in the woods. Like, I remember I went to high school. This is another story. I remember I went to high school. A friend of mine went through the woods. This was in I'm not going to tell you my age, but he was literally walking through the woods to go home. And a guy literally came out in the woods, and literally did something to him. Like, literally did something to him. When I say he did something to him, I mean he did something to him. And then he literally took a gun, not a gun, like he did a stun gun. He took a stun gun and he stunned his private, and he died. This kid, a friend of ours, died in the woods. I couldn't even imagine being his parents. I couldn't imagine being his parents. Can you imagine somebody telling you your child just died in the woods because he was playing in the woods? Or somebody telling you, well, he was outside and he was just playing, and then some guy came and he killed him. That, to me, I mean, my boys mean, when I tell you everything, I mean everything. And I mean, they're not only do they mean everything to me, their friends mean everything to me too, because I treat every one of their friends like they're my sons, and their daughters too. And I just couldn't. It couldn't. To me, I couldn't fathom the idea of a person going out of. But this is the life we're in now. We're here. This is where we're at. We're not in the typical be home before the light. Look, be home before the light comes on. Like, we're not. This is not where we're at. We're not here. You see what I'm saying? We're not at this be home before the light comes on, or you know what's gonna happen to you. We're not here. This is not where we're at. Like, I remember those days. We're not here. Where we're at is that your child could be taken from you, even from the street, and they're 3 years old, literally from your hands. And all of us have seen those YouTube videos of rings, but this is the life we're living in, and we have to be cautious and precautious of where we're at, because like literally there's people out there that just want to do harm. They don't care. They just want to do physical harm to kids. They know that, I mean, the FBI caught, here's another story. The FBI caught one of the largest, he wasn't a drug cartel, he actually was a gang. It was the Crips who actually came to Northern Virginia. And he was sex trafficking girls. And after he got caught, because he was sex trafficking girls from door to door to door, believe it or not, he was sex trafficking them, taking them to apartment buildings and having them knock on doors. And they were being sex trafficked that way. And a nice Christian gentleman, the girl knocked on the door. The pimp was outside, which was one of the gang members. And the girl, she goes, would you like to have sex? I guess apparently she came inside the door because the guy goes, okay, but what he was really trying to do was save her. Came in, he goes, do you need help? He called the police. They caught the whole gang membership, the whole everything. When they asked the gang member or the guy who was running the whole entire sting or the whole ring of it all, they asked him, why would you do such a thing? He even said in his interview, drugs can go and they can come and they wear out. A girl I can sell over and over and over again, and she'll never wear out. Now that tells you the mentality and where the rationale of people are right now. That they think a child or a daughter or a son of yours is a commodity. This guy said it. He says a girl can be sold over and over and over again. She will never wear out. She'll never go out like drugs do. And I can make all the money in the world. Now that tells you where we're at. This is the life we're living. This is the age we're living in. And this is the way that all the people think. All the people think. Whether it's labor trafficking, because labor is the worst. They take advantage of these people who are working in these massage parlors or working in the nail parlors or working as hair cutters, cutting your hair, barbershop, whatever. Or, these people who are labor trafficked when they're watching kids or whatever. Same thing. They don't care. They will suck these people dry. But they don't care. What they don't know is there's crimes against these things. If you labor traffic somebody, it's a crime. Now, I don't want to talk about labor trafficking right now because we'll talk about that another time. But this is the life we're living in. This is where we're at, guys. This is where we're at. And it's horrible what we're living in, But if you don't know what apps could potentially get your kids in trouble, I want to give you guys a list that you guys can see so that you can know. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys. Let me show you about some of the apps that could potentially harm your kids. Let me show you some of these apps. So these are some of the apps, and I am going to share my screen so you guys can see them. Because I know yesterday I was talking about it and you guys were like, I don't know what she really means. So so if you see, a lot of these could be Snapchat, like I was telling you about. Listen, they human traffic and sex traffic on Snapchat. Just want to let you know. I told you guys. TikTok. How many times have you seen your kid on TikTok? It happens all the time. They're on TikTok consistently. You see your kid on TikTok all the time. I'm on TikTok. And I see things on TikTok and I'm like, no, scroll. Now I'm on Christian TikTok, so I don't No, I don't none of that mess, but I see Christian stuff, but there's some things that come on there and I'm like, oh nope, scroll on by. So Facebook Messenger, believe it or not, yes. Meet me, live me is the worst. Live me is the worst. And I have no idea why not yet that has not been removed. Uh Twitch happens all the time. MLK, Kick. Instagram, like I told you guys, Instagram, girls get sold on Instagram consistently. Monkey is another one. Okay, Live, Discord, again, another app I do not know why it's still on. And Whisper. These are just a couple of apps. Now this is just a small list because there's way more than this. Way more than this. Like there's a lot more apps out there, guys. A lot more apps that y'all don't know about. This is the smallest, this just teeny bit. That's just a itty bitty bit. There's a lot more. And like I said, there's a lot of these apps where I'm like, why is this app still up and running? Why have they not removed this app? You know? But this just FYI, when they make money, they're not going to remove it. You know, these companies make good money. They're not going to remove these apps, you know? So it's up to the consumer or it's up to parents to just say, you're not going to be on that app. Sorry. Mm-mm. No, you're not. Mm-mm. You're not going to be on that. So it's up to you to say, no, you're not going to do it. So anyways, I've been on here for like 41 minutes. And I said I was going to keep it short and sweet. 30 minutes. I thought I was going to keep it short because I love my sleep. But anyways, it's 11 o'clock. And so tomorrow I'll try to come and maybe talk about labor trafficking. If not, I'll try to talk about domestic violence, a little bit more of it, because there's so many facets of domestic violence. I mean, so many facets. And I think you guys can probably watch my old videos. I mean, there's so many old videos where I've done to talk about a lot of issues of domestic violence, from narcissism to psychological abuse, mental abuse, a lot of other stuff. So you can probably look at my videos, my old ones. But anywho, I hope that you guys have a nice night. And like I always say, you're beautiful, you're lovely, I love you. And thank God that God loves you too. And don't forget to watch your kids. All right. Bye, guys.